Insulin resistance diet, its benefits and what you should eat. What is insulin resistance? In this video, we take a look at what insulin resistance is and what its relationship with body weight is. How being overweight led to insulin resistance and what can be done to lose weight. First, you need to understand what insulin resistance is in order for you to be able to deal with it. Insulin resistance is caused by the storage of fat in tissues that are not designed to store fat. So you must always remember that. So if we want to treat insulin resistance, our fight is to make sure that fat is not stored in these tissues in our bodies where it's not supposed to be. Carrying extra weight around the waist is a particular danger for this reason. Research has shown that belly fat produces hormones and other chemicals that can cause health complications, such as insulin resistance, high blood pressure, and heart disease and many more. Because insulin resistance is the underlying factor present across all forms of diabetes. Successfully losing and maintaining that weight loss can help to reduce the risk of developing prediabetes or diabetes. It can also prevent the serious complications associated with the disease. Insulin resistance is a very prominent health condition in our world today, and it influences a lot of other chronic diseases. So, we talk about insulin resistance in the context of diabetes and only diabetes, but it actually influences many other health conditions including cancer, coronary artery disease, hypertension, obesity, high cholesterol, fatty liver, polycystic ovarian syndrome, Alzheimer's disease, neuropathy, blindness, kidney failure, retinopathy, and erectile dysfunction. Insulin resistance is a central controlling health condition that talks to every single one of those and increases your risk for every single one of those conditions. Belly fat also contributes to the development of inflammation in the body. Over time, chronic and widespread inflammation also increases the risk for developing many of the same health complications. You get increased total body inflammation, which is measured by a protein called C-reactive protein. Then in the long term, we see people end up actually either gaining weight, resulting in low energy, impaired digestion and food cravings. Heart disease is the most important of all of those conditions that I just mentioned because heart disease is the #1 killer of people with diabetes. Once you understand this, then you can seriously consider treating insulin resistance and reverse it. More fat causes less glucose. Glucose has to stay out, it gets trapped in the blood, so you get more insulin resistance. As a result of that, your liver builds up fatty acids, and you can develop a condition known as fatty liver, which can eventually lead to liver cirrhosis and eventually liver failure. You can also significantly increase your risk of cancer and kidney failure because your protein intake is very high. You need to go on a low-fat, plant-based, whole foods diet. Although some people might argue to say that the oils that we use for cooking come from plants. This is a very important thing to understand. Even though oils come from plants, oils are not food. Oil is the most refined product in the supermarket. Oil is the fat equivalent of sugar. Olive oil is pure fat, and even small amounts of that fat can damage your endothelium, which is the lining of your blood vessels, and it can increase this fatty acid deposit that happens inside of tissues, causing insulin resistance, so all oils are out. So, that is why we have to understand that low-carb diets, even though they work in the short term, are not effective strategies for the long term because they will actually increase your risk for the development of other health complications. So how do you actually reverse it? Through lifestyle changes and diet. Cut out the oil and get lots of exercise. What else are you going to do on your diet? Whole foods, plant-based. A low-fat, plant-based, whole food diet is your best option. That is how you reverse insulin resistance and gain insulin sensitivity. More carbohydrates for less insulin. That is what it means. So, people who adopt a low-fat plant-based approach, we recommend eating 15% of your calories from fat at the max and 15% of your calories from protein as the max. So, if you max out both of those at 15%, then the balance becomes carbohydrate. So, you can call it a high-carb diet. You can call it a low-fat diet. A low-fat, low-protein diet. The fact of the matter is you are eating a lot more carbohydrates and a lot less fat and protein. All fruits and non-starchy vegetables like tomatoes, cucumbers, okra, zucchini, cauliflower and broccoli. Starchy vegetables like potatoes and squash. Things that grow in the ground like beans, lentils and peas. Green leafy vegetables like lettuce, intact whole grain, herbs and spices which have significant documented antioxidant activity. The following foods such as dairy products like milk, cheese, ice cream, yogurt, eggs, processed meats, red meat, white meat, poultry, fish, and shellfish, oils of any kind. Including refined sugars, pastries and bread which are refined carbohydrates. Stay away from these, they are bad for your health. Nuts and seeds have anti-cancer effects, documented anti-diabetic activity, but again when you eat nuts and seeds it is very easy to overeat on these foods. So it is wise to eat them in moderation. Besides changing your diet, sleep deprivation is also a big cause of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes. Getting plenty of sleep each day can help to regulate the hormones associated with feeling hungry, and to reduce the risk of glucose metabolism dysfunction. Physical activity is also recommended, at least 30 minutes a day for 3 or 5 days a week. If you're a smoker, or if you use any type of tobacco, it's best to stop. Regular use of tobacco products can increase the risk of diabetes and insulin resistance. You can also check with your doctor for supplements to prevent diabetes or prediabetes. If you enjoyed watching this video, hit the like button and subscribe to our channel to help us grow.